Hello, crafty friends. My name is Jessica, and welcome back to my channel. Today, I have for you the number 4 series for the Positively Saturated ink line with Simon Says Stamp. This is the 4th installment for this color blend series, and I've got some really great color combos coming up. Now, I can't talk about ink blending without talking about my favorite paper. This is Simon Says Stamp 130-pound cardstock. You can use any cardstock that has a smooth surface for ink blending to get the best results. Back in the day, I did used to use Nina 80-pound, and I do not recommend that now that there are some better papers on the market. This 130-pound from Simon Says Stamp is great. The hammer mill that a lot of people use for foiling is also great, as well as Not Your Mama's cardstock and Bristol Smooth. All 4 of those I have used and enjoyed for ink blending, but I tend to reach for my Simon Says Stamp 130-pound the most. This is the first trio. This is Lilac, Orchid, and Amethyst. These lovely, warm toned purples. I absolutely love these purples, and they're probably my favorite out of the 4 that I believe Simon Says Stamp has in this ink line. One of the tips I had mentioned prior was to make sure that your ink pads were nice and juicy. One of the reasons I love these inks, one of many, is that you can buy re-inkers for all of the positively saturated ink lines. It's really important that your ink pads are juicy, and I had mentioned that in a previous video and then promptly forgot to ink these. So my lilac could use a little bit more, but I was already into the ink blending, so I didn't want to take the time to re-ink these ink pads, and I'm hopefully going to show you that in the next one. I do have a particular way that I do like to re-ink my ink pads, and so I'll be sure to show you that hopefully in Color Blend series number 5. Speaking of that series, would love to know in the comments below what color you'd like me to do next. It could just be a color family. It doesn't necessarily have to be the names of the ink pads. Just let me know in the comments below. I do have a playlist with all of these card panels that I'm combining into one, so be sure you check that out if you haven't seen the previous versions for the Ink Blend series. Now I'm just wrapping up this color. This again is Lilac, Orchid, and Amethyst. Beautiful, beautiful warm purple. So I'm just going to set that aside and let it dry back, and we're going to move on. For the second trio, I have Rose, Lilac, and Grapefruit. This is a very fun color combo, and you'll see that once we get started. I love using my Waffle Flower grip mat. I do not take the back off because when I ink blend, I tend to move a paper around a lot. I'm being very mindful of that here in this video, but I tend to do that when I'm making cards offline. Another thing I wanted to show you here is starting in the middle. I chose to start with the lilac color because it is the lightest, and this is just another example how you can switch things up and start off in the middle as opposed to always starting onto an edge, which I've done up until this point. But because this color is lighter, I wanted to be sure that it stayed light. And so I went ahead and put this down in the middle before I went in with the grapefruit and the rose. You If you notice, I did just switch the panel there because I had some brush strokes on the one side that I knew I would be able to cover up with the rose color and maybe not so much with the grapefruit. I'm going to go in really light-handed with this grapefruit into the lilac because I don't want these two colors to get muddled. So I'm just taking my time to ensure that the two colors don't overblend to create a not so fun color in between. Thankfully, these colors are secondary colors, so while they're not complementary, they do tend to still blend a little bit better than, say, a yellow and a purple, which are complementary colors and will definitely create brown. I think the other thing that's helpful is that the grapefruit and the lilac are warm toned. And if this was a more blue toned purple, it definitely would have created a brown in between because a blue is going to lead more cool, and that's the opposite of a warm orange. Now we're going in with rose, a lovely, lovely pinky color. Again, another warm color. I did have a little bit of a heavy hand when blending this into my purple, so I do have a couple brush strokes, which typically I could normally get out, but I think just the two different colors and the tones of them are just different enough that I was unable to buff that out the way that I would have liked. Such a fun, vibrant color combo with these three. Again, this is Rose, Lilac, and Grapefruit. Now we're going to do a quick cleanup and move into probably my favorite color combo for this color combo series. Be sure you're following me on my Instagram as I take a lot of these panels and turn them into cards. Now up next we have Limelicious, Marine, and Orchid. I really love how these three colors end up blending together, so I'm excited for you to see that. I'm just grabbing my brushes and getting them ready here, and then we're going to load up Limelicious. This is the lightest color of this three, and so I'm going in light-handed and just layering that ink on top of each other. The nice thing about this paper, because it's smooth, is the dye ink does sit on top for a little bit before it dries back, so it does give you that extra play, which is why I think they blend so well together. Now we're going in with Marine. This is the lightest blue of the blue trio with Simon Says Stamp Positively Saturated inks. And I just absolutely fell in love with the color that gets created between these two. These two colors alone would make a really great masculine card, and I envisioned white die cuts on this panel, maybe some candlesticks or a white happy birthday sentiment, something white I really envisioned being on top of these two colors. Then we're going to go in and add the orchid, and it's just going to level up this color combo to a whole different level. It's going to add some warmth into these cool tones and just change the whole color scheme. While I think a white die cut will still look good on it, I also see black or silver kind of complementing these colors as well. Now I'm just doing a final pass through with both colors to really work the ink together to try to get that third color in between. So I'm just going back over with the purple and then the marine and then back to the orchid just to really beef up that color blending that's going on between the two. Then once we're done, we're going to look at it again. It's going to be Limelicious, Marine, and Orchid. Absolutely love that. Definitely my favorite color combo for this color series. Then we're going to move into the fourth and final color blend. We're going to use something a little bit different. Taffy, Aegean, and Amethyst. Now, we know that red and green make brown, but these colors mix in a really interesting way. While it's not brown, and it might not be your cup of tea, but I really liked the color combo that I got between the two of them. I thought it would be a really good Christmas card, or a white stamped image would look really great on top of these dark saturated colors. But you'll have to let me know in the comments below if you liked this color combo. It's definitely unique. And I think that the reason why it ended up working is because Aegean does tend to lean into the blue side of the greens. And so we're getting a muted kind of purple color in between instead of brown, because Taffy leans towards the pinks. And while the Aegean leans towards the blue, we're getting that secondary purpley color in between. For these darker colors that are more on the royal side, I do tend to see that I work these colors a lot more than a lighter color combo. Now we're adding Amethyst, and now Amethyst into Aegean, you would also think would be probably muddled because it's a purple, a warm purple into this greeny blue cool toned, but it ends up turning into a really beautiful blue. And so I was really surprised by this panel. I did do a small test before I committed on camera, and I was really happy that I ended up going with it. At one point, I had them kind of swapped where the purple was going into Taffy and then into Aegean, but I really wanted to show that sometimes unexpected things happen. So Rose into Aegean into Amethyst for this one. It's definitely not gonna be everybody's cup of tea, but like I said, it was unexpected and in a really good way. That's it for the color blends. I went ahead and let them dry off camera so that we could see them in a little bit more of a dry back state. This is the Lilac to Orchid to Amethyst, this lovely warm purple. This is Rose, Lilac into Grapefruit. Fun, fun, fun. Then we're going to go into my favorite ink panel. This is Limelicious into Marine into Orchid. And then last but not least, Rose into Aegean into Amethyst. And that's it for today. I hope you enjoyed this color blend series, and I look forward to seeing you at the next one. Take care.